Welcome back, humble traders. Today I'll be doing a technical breakdown on KWEB, CWEB, and FXI. Before I begin, remember take a second to give the video a like and subscribe as it will greatly help out the channel. In return, I'll tell you guys a joke. What day do eggs hate the most? Friday. Do note that I do not provide any buy or sell calls, but focus on the potential traps set up by the market makers. Without further ado, let's take a look at KWEB. So you can see that KWEB it seems to be climbing up in the pre-market. It's currently trading around 29. And in fact, all the Chinese stocks are starting to rally up once again. But the question is whether or not it's sustainable. So you can see that KWEB have a gap here that needs to be closed. And in fact, this high was around 22.88 and this low was around 24. So in fact, there's still about $1 to $2 gap that is yet to be closed, but in the long run, it may be negligible because this gap is pretty small. If it's $1 or $2, it can be quite insignificant. So let's take a look at what exactly is happening now. You can see that the past few days, there were some buyers coming into support. Let's take a look at the corrective wave to have a better understanding. So you can see that this is the first wave down all the way to a low of around these lows, which was around 27. And we had a second corrective wave. It ended very nicely at this particular low here at 24. So the correction may have seemed to have ended, but we have to create this thing called a higher low. So you can see that this was a low here, and now we are creating a high low. So it is a good sign for a potential trend reversal, where we must create higher highs and higher lows. So that is a good start for now. But what we want to see later is a bullish continuation. We want to see that we are able to punch through certain resistance and certain and helped by certain supports. And especially this is a Friday, so there is expect to have some profit taking, and the weekly candles of Friday is extremely important. So taking out the Fibonacci, let's take a look at where exactly are the potential resistance coming up for KWEB. You can see that currently it's around 29 pre-market. So we are above this 50% resistance at 28.40, and we seem to be heading at this 61.8% at 29.44. So this 29.40 is a very, very crucial support that KWEB have to hold later, or at least it will come to test this support. So what market makers would like to do is that if this is a very strong resistance, what they would love to do is to actually break this resistance, where a lot of breakout traders will come in, people who short, those who have shorted beforehand, they'll come in and sort of clear their positions. So that's where the market makers create a fake breakout. So fake breakouts are very, very common. And for instance, if let's say I'm currently at around 360 subscribers, and suddenly I go to 362, but after clearing this 360 psychological resistance, I fall back to 359. So that is what you call a fake breakout. So what are you guys waiting for? Quickly help me press the subscribe button. Anyways, coming back to this, looking at this 29.40, if we are able to clear 29.40 with good volume, then we may potentially hit up to 30.90 to test this resistance. And I highly doubt that we can actually go to this 32 once again, unless there's a perhaps a major short squeeze or there's a lot of buying pressure. But more importantly, we have to actually clear with good volume and have a very, very good close. Because if we have a very nice green candle like this, that will be good if we are able to close near the peak. But what we don't want to see is that we have a candle that looks something like this and we actually close at the bottom with a very, very long shadow. So that is not a good sign. We don't want sellers to appear, and we also don't want we also want buyers to actually support the price all the way until the end of the close. And not forgetting, you can see that there's also a cloud resistance here. So on the way up, the cloud will act as a resistance. You can see that KWEB here did not test this resistance, so there was a lack of power. This time around, it may potentially test. And if you are able to break through this resistance in the upcoming sessions, then there is potentially more upside before we test this 32.81. So let's take a look at CWEB. So CWEB basically is a China index. So very similar pattern. You can see that this is in fact creating a very nice higher low here. It is a lot lower here. It seems like the gap has already been closed, so that is a good sign. So let's take a look at the corrective waves for CWEB. You can see that this is the first wave down, the low here, and then this seems to be the second wave. KWEB, and we ended this wave correction somewhere here. So that is a very good sign. what we want to see later is bullish momentum to continue up, creating higher highs and higher lows in the next few trading sessions. Then that will be a potential trend reversal. So let's take a look at the potential resistance for later. Currently now it's trading around 615, just above this 614 resistance here at 50%. And the next, you can see that this is also a baseline. This red baseline acts as a potential resistance for the upcoming session later. This red baseline is 623. So if we are able to close above the 623 for later sessions, that will be a good sign, because you can see that on the way up, all these things will act as a resistance. So on the way down, this will act as a very good support. So we want to see this CWEB holding this support line later at the very close. So that will be a good sign. If you were to fall below, then unfortunately, it doesn't look too good. So after this 615, we are looking at this 658, somewhere around this 61.8%, which is around 660. So 660 is once again a very strong resistance for CWEB to clear. Even if it clears, I expect a fake breakout. So you need to be careful here. And if there's enough momentum, we may be heading towards this side, $7 psychological support, and thereafter this 720 here. Unlikely that we can hit this $8 today, but in upcoming sessions, we may potentially hit it. Not forgetting, looking at these big clouds, there is a very, very big cloud incoming for CWEB. So on the way up, cloud will act as a strong resistance. And this cloud is from a low of around $7 to a high of around $9. So you can expect a lot of resistance here for CWEB. Lastly, let's take a look at FXI. So FXI, this is the China large cap ETF. So once again, very similar pattern. You see that this is a higher low here. The gap is partially closed. So that is a good sign of a potential trend reversal. We want to see higher highs and higher lows. Even if we were to break down this 34.39, we want to see this 34.39 previous resistance turning to support. That will be a good indication for this FXI. So FXI is once again, look at the current trading price at pre-market. It's currently trading at 31.52. So it is above this 50% of 31.46. And thereafter, we're looking towards this 32.15. So 32.15 may potentially have a fake breakout here. Or if we have enough strength, then we will test this 33.10. Once again, if you look closely, there's also this incoming clouds for this particular counter of FXI. And looking at the conversion line, this red conversion line is holding at 31.46. So there is some resistance here that FXI will later see. And if there's enough upcoming momentum in the upcoming sessions, then we may likely to hit back this 34.39, test this highs once again. If the momentum is true, then we can potentially go back up once again. So I've broken down KWEB, CWEB, and FXI. So as of now, everything looks good. Hopefully, we will have a good close. A good opening is important, but a good closing, especially for Friday, is even more important, because it shows whether or not buyers are willing to hold the prices up. And if we are able to see a follow through the very next day, that would be a good indication. We do not need to see a very strong power, but what we want to see is momentum throughout the day, and there's no selling pressure, or there's no uncertainty in the movement of the stock throughout the entire day. So if there's any changes, I'll give you guys an update. Thanks for stopping by, and don't forget to subscribe as you keep the uptrend channel intact. Leave a comment below if you have any other stock TA requests. Till we meet again, appreciate the manipulation.